Honestly, I feel like it would just be better if I treated this like kind of a confessional and if I was just honest with myself and with you. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. I have a severe book buying problem. It's such a problem, it's not even funny. Someone needs to take my credit card away. Hi, hello. Nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. I go through like intense phases of like kind of being on a book buying ban, but never actually on a book buying ban. Like if there's a book I really want to buy, I'll buy it. And then I go through phases. I feel like it's on the season changes. Like when you're coming into spring, coming into fall, which can I just say, I've never been more excited for a fall season ever. The way that I have completely revamped my fall wardrobe. Like it's literally not why you're here, but I am so deep in my getting in the fall mood vibe, and I miss the feeling of the books that I was reading last fall, and this is me grappling to try and get that back, really grasping at straws to try and get the feeling, the era of reading last fall that I just had, which was just, in my own humble opinion, immaculate. The way that I cried and my life was changed by books, and that's kind of what I want to accomplish again. I have been walking into bookstores and seemingly blacking out. I swear I don't have a concept of money when I walked into a bookstore recently, because what do you mean that I got home and I compiled everything that I bought as of late, and this is what I was left with? Good God, someone needs to take my credit card away, and I've asked for that in the past and seemingly still no one has done it. I feel like it's a job for my mom. So mom, if you're watching this, I'm lying. I'm totally good. I'm really, honestly, financially responsible. I mean, she knows me better than anyone, and she knows that that's a lie. And after coming home and compiling the list of books that I've acquired in the last little bit, I'll be honest, I was gone most of the summer, so this is kind of in the last 2 or so months, but they're all books that I have not told you that I purchased and that have not for the most part been read yet. There's a couple that have been read, but I bought them literally 3 days ago, so I feel like I need to include them in this. So I thought it would be fun to do a full in-depth book haul. These are like my favorite videos to watch. I feel like at the end of them, I always end up adding books to my cart and checking out. So if I do that to you, so sorry. But also, you're welcome, because is there any better feeling, any better dopamine serotonin hit than pressing checkout on a new book? And there is literally no way that I could talk about new and fun releases without talking about today's sponsor, Book of the Month. If you have somehow not heard about Book of the Month, let me put you on, because great is the understatement of the century when it comes to this little blue box showing up at your front door. Book of the Month is a monthly subscription where an amazing and seemingly very talented team of curators create a list of 5 to 7 new and debut releases across all different genres. I have found some of my absolute favorite reads through Book of the Month. I'm such a read within books that I like kind of person, and Book of the Month's books are usually the ones that I step out with because their team of curators are so good at finding books in every genre. So when I'm trying to branch out, try new author, try new genre, I know that Book of the Month is going to have my new favorite book. They have the best prices on new release hardbacks, as well as free shipping and a royalty rewards program. I chose 2 books going into September because if I'm honest, I couldn't narrow it down to one. The first is Madwoman by Chelsea Beaker, and this cover sold me if I'm honest. The blurb and what's going on the inside definitely sounds good as well, but I will say this is the cover that sold me. We're following a woman who has seemingly created and cultivated this perfect life that she has always wanted, but when she gets a letter in the mail from a women's correctional facility in California, her past kind of starts creeping up on her. And the second book I picked is Blue Sisters by Coco Malord. She also wrote Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I haven't read yet, but I'd heard really great things about. So the second I saw this on here, I was like, it's a sign. I have to read it. And we are following 3 sisters who, a year after losing their 4th sister, have to head back to New York to try and stop the sale of their childhood home. Book of the Month has options for their signature beautiful hardbacks as well as for audiobooks, so there's something for everyone. And if all of that sounds as good to you as it does to me, make sure to use the code cardigan at bookofthemonth.com to get your very first book for just $5, because that is an insanely good deal. Now that we've talked about some books that were a great deal, let's talk about some books that were not, because coming across a deal like that, yeah, does not happen very often. These first 2 books kind of have a story to them. You know that TikTok sound that's like, I'm a bitch, but I'm a bitch with a backstory? That is these 2 books right now. Me and my nail tech were talking about book to show TV adaptations, which if you didn't know, my nail tech is like one of my best friends now. I've been going to her for like 3 years and we are locked and loaded, so close. And she was talking about how Uglies is being turned into a TV show, and I was like, I never read that. I have no idea what that is. But did you ever read this book when you were a kid? I've been searching for it. That's about a girl that falls in love with a werewolf, and that's all that I remember. But I remember staying up until like 12 in the morning as an 11-year-old, which is my 3 a.m. now. Like, that girl should not have been up till midnight trying to finish these books. Like, I was so obsessed with them, and my little 11-year-old self that had been tested for literally everything because of how much she struggled reading was definitely struggling to do so. So I must have loved it in the moment, and she looked at me dead in the eyes and went, oh, shiver? the way that it instantly unlocked a memory in me. Okay, this is not the cover that the original book was that I read when I was a kid. Also, like, while I have you here, this has even more of a story to it. This bitch has a backstory. When I was like really young, my dad had like a conference for work up in like Muskoka, Canada, like cottage country, and my mom and I were like, we may as well go with him. Let's get a nice little like rental right on Main Street and stay there for a couple of days and just like have a mommy-daughter weekend while he's working. And we've never had conversations about it since. We've never had conversations where we've had this feeling ever in our entire lives, but we're so convinced that it was haunted, so convinced. I don't really remember why, neither does she, but when I found this book and I told her that I bought it at the bookstore in Huntsville, she immediately was like, that weird cottage we stayed at, right? And I was young and we were both very scared there. I bought this for the first time at a bookstore underneath that cottage. It's giving scary. It's giving October. It's giving the start of a horror movie. I'm not gonna think about that any longer. And then in that exact same conversation, she was like, did you ever read Matched? And I was like, I don't think so. Like, doesn't ring any bells. And she was like, it's that book where like people get matched with someone, and our main character girl, I looked her dead in the eyes and I went, gets matched with two people? And she's like, yeah, that's it. The way that she unlocked memories in me that I didn't even know were there. The power of the human brain. I hadn't thought about them in so long, but they were in there somewhere. And I really want to do a video rereading like my favorite books from childhood. And I feel like this is the closest I will ever get in my entire life of being able to reread a book for the first time, because my 11-year-old self does not remember much. I have been scouring, searching, slowly acquiring the entire off-campus series by Elle Kennedy with the beautiful little blue sprayed edges. I told myself that I couldn't start reading it until I had all of them. I now in fact have all of them, so I have no more excuses. I was kind of buying one here and there every time I saw them, because honestly in Toronto these are hard to come by. Like, I feel like I didn't see them at very many bookstores. Like, it was always like the fifth one, the third one, whatever. And I finally have all of them. I feel like it's a book girly rite of passage to read Elle Kennedy and to read the off-campus series. And I remember when I got an advance copy of The Graham Effect and I said I was excited to read it, people lost their minds that I was going to read it without having read this. So I just feel like I want to understand the world of Elle Kennedy, and I've heard this is the right place to start. I could be wrong. And when I got the very last book that I needed to complete this collection, I noticed that there is another series of hers with these blue sprayed edges, so I guess the hunt will continue. Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I very rarely go into a bookstore and see a book that I've never seen before, read the blurb, and buy it. It's very unlike me. I normally have like an idea of what I want going in, or I've been hemming and hawing about getting something and I'll finally get a book that I've been thinking about getting. No, this is probably one of the very first times ever that I've gone in, seen a cover, and added it to cart. Physically, like put it, my arm is the cart. You get what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure Ava Reid also wrote A Study in Drowning, which I have not read yet, but I know people loved last year, and this is like pretty short, and the blurb sold me. From what I can tell, we're following a woman who studies witchcraft. She knows that her eyes induce madness in men, and she is married to someone who's described in the blurb as a brute, but who also might have occult ties, and it's looking like to keep herself safe and just survive the entire situation of this man that she's been forced to marry. She's gonna have to use every scrap of power that she has, and I'd be lying if I didn't say I loved a good retelling nod to something from a long time ago. And Lady Macbeth, I don't know, I'm sold. It just sold me. Also, the end papers in here are so beautiful. I wonder if there's the naked hardback is also beautiful. Death Touched, Poison Eyed, Witch Kiss. I'm sad. I'm seated. Wisteria by Adeline Grace, which is the third book in the Belladonna series. Now you may be asking, hey, have you read the first two? I have not. Do you own the first two? I actually in fact don't. This is what I mean, blacking out, walking into bookstores, literally no thought process is being done. But I love a miniature hardback, and I was determined to find the first two in the miniature hardback size, but I knew that this would eventually be coming out in paperback and it would be hard to find the hardback of that, and I love miniature hardback. They have a piece of my heart that I just cannot put into words. Also, when I told the book club that I got this, they told me to open it and look at the naked hardback, so we're gonna do that together. The end papers already, I didn't even flip through this. I just was like, I know I'm gonna read this series. Oh my god, that is beautiful. It's said that wisteria vine is a symbol of immortality. This is such a beautiful naked hardback, and on that note, I am in fact returning it. Not because I'm good at making financial decisions, because the entire box set of these little hardbacks are coming out on October 1st. I did in fact already pre-order it. Long Shadow and 10,000 Stitches by Olivia Atwater. If you watched my most recent 24-hour reading video, you would watch me fall in love with Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater the way that I ran to buy the next two in the series the second I finished that. I don't know which order these totally go in. The series is called Regency Fairy Tales, and just the way that she wrote in Half a Soul, so much more sophisticated than a little 300-page fun little fantasy time. It's just so quirky and so fun. I have no idea who we're following in these, and I honestly went in pretty blind to Half a Soul, and I want to do the same going into this. I hope the characters carry forward, but from Half a Soul we have the earth that we're existing on, which is Regency time. Think Bridgerton, think the Ton, all of that jazz, and then there's another layer or another earth that's like not totally connected. The whole lore of the fact that there is the world and then fairy where fairies live is like unimportant. But there's a line in Have a Soul that I feel like explains the series better than anything I can say is, and it was that the fairy said, "For I am wearing many jackets, therefore I must be so important." And I don't think I can sell the series more than that. It's just quirky, it's fun. The main character in Have a Soul, the only way I can describe her, is as being New Girl from Jess. No, wrong. Is like being Jess from New Girl, but she has no emotions. It's so well written and quirky and fun and entertaining, but you also are so invested. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Rose Hill series. Yes, I understand. I'm holding 2 copies. I can't explain my financial decisions. However, this is my hobby, and book buying and book reading fill different needs for me. They are different hobbies, and I will stand and die on that hill. I have the advanced reader's copy that I got from Raincoast that I am actually currently reading, currently in the process of annotating, and I noticed on the spine there is no mountains on it, okay? And the entire series is going to match up and have this big like mountainscape on the entire series spine. Trust me, I hate me too. I did need both. However, I feel like 30-40-year-old me will look back and regret not having them all line up and having this just like bump in the middle of the road that doesn't line up. So I did in fact get my own copy to line up. I need someone to take my credit card away, but I don't regret anything. Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills series. I haven't gone around to reading Wildfire yet. I'm excited to, and I'm also hearing really good things about this so far. This one follows Henry. They're all kind of sports romance-y. We're following kids in Maple Hills, which is this college university thing in the US. I've only read Icebreaker and it was fine. It was good. It was entertaining. I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people do hate it, but I've heard that it gets even better, and I've seen a lot of people loving this, and I'm so excited to get Henry's story, even just from knowing him from Icebreaker. This is How You Lose the Time War. I have a feeling I'm going to eat this up. I've seen so many of my friends love this book, like be completely changed by this book, which when I saw it in stores and saw it was like 190 pages, like she's tiny. I was shocked. For some reason in my head it was gonna be like a 600 page, like totally in depth, like rip your heart out. Honestly, a 200 page book can rip your heart out still. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't totally know what this is about, but I know it is through time, and I know it's about correspondence during wars, like letters sent back and forth. I actually don't even know if it's through time. I don't know. I don't know if the recovered correspondence, but I know there's like a sci-fi element to it. I don't know. I'm so excited to read this. I think it's gonna be very impactful based on what I've seen other people say, which is like exactly the feeling that I'm searching for this fall. Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I have in fact already read this. I bought it and then read it the next day, so there was just no world that I could not include it. I read Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan and loved it. There's something about the way that she writes that just like is so satisfying and so good. If you have not picked an Annabelle Monaghan book, do it. Summer is not over, and they also aren't just summary reads. Like the way that she writes, it's just so beautiful. I feel like she does the really beautiful lyrical writing, but in like a punchy way. Like, do you know when people say that they wish a 600 page romance was 200 pages shorter? That's what Annabelle Monaghan does. Like there are lines and snippets throughout this that so demand to be annotated and are so beautiful and so impactful, but they're not like drawn out descriptions. I just love the way she writes, and this was a 5-star. The Hunted Heir by Holly Renee. Okay, I bought this 100 pages into reading The Veiled Kingdom because I was like, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna want to read on. Like at that point I was super entertained. I now in fact feel duped by how much everyone loved The Veiled Kingdom. I didn't hate it. It was entertaining, but it was objectively not great in my opinion, which is the opposite of objective, but you get what I'm trying to say. I am gonna read on because I'm so curious like where this could possibly go. I don't think I would have bought it if I had finished the book and then ordered it, but it's here and I will be reading on because like I'm curious. I don't necessarily care about the characters at this point, but I'm curious. Collided by Lauren Asher. Both Lauren Asher and Elsie Silver are re-releasing books from their first series. So the Gold Ranch series by Elsie Silver and the F1 Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher are slowly being re-released one at a time. I read Collided by Lauren Asher and this is the second one, and all the spines are gonna match up and I like them. It was fine. It was entertaining. I really like the F1 aspect of Throttled, but I'm excited to move on in the series and like see the other couples. It was fine. It was okay. It feels like her first book, but I love the design of these books so much, and they're coming out like every couple of months. So every time I see one on a shelf that has come out, I grab it, and then I'll have the complete new editions of the series to read for the very first time. The first and the second book in the Heartstopper series, I felt like I was having FOMO. I felt like I was missing out. I want to watch the TV show and I obviously have to read the books first. I did read the first one in my 24-hour reading video and I read it in like an hour, and I'm still self-conscious that I read that too fast, like that it should have taken me longer. Regardless, I'm excited to get into this. I feel like I could binge like all 5 of them in one sitting, and I feel like it would go over my head and it wouldn't be as impactful because I know that this is going to deal with some like really intense topics. So I think I'm going to do like one a month, once every while, like something like a pick-me-up, an easy kind of read. But the way I am so excited to be one of the girlies that has read this, like to just get the lore and be able to watch the show, and just I'm excited. We are going to move these before this stack falls over. It fell over. I probably should have put a hardback on that first so it could balance better. we're gonna just pray. Now we have my two Fairy Loot books from last month. One is Long Live Evil, which I've heard so much about recently with obviously the beautiful sprayed edges. I have absolutely no idea what it is about, but I have seen it at every single bookstore as like a recommended. So I'm actually really excited to go into this. I feel like my gripe with book subscriptions and like special edition book subscriptions is I very rarely know a lot about the books and then I don't have like an inkling to go into them. I know that it's like my fault, but I also hate the idea of missing out on special editions of books that I like love. And I really feel like if I did read them, I would like a lot of them, but this is my second month with Fairy Loot. I don't know if I'm gonna stay. I think I will, but I don't know. And this one is so beautiful. This is the girl with no reflection, and the sprayed edges on this are beyond stunning. Like, this is probably one of the most beautiful books that I own ever. Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. This is actually my book club's book pick for this month. I'm so excited to read this. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. All of my friends who read like me in real life that have read this love this, and so many people online are loving this. I know nothing about it other than the fact that it's like an enemies to lovers and that the banter in this is really good. I'm just so excited to get into this world, and I'm pretty sure this is actually her debut fantasy novel, and the chapter pages in this with the butterflies and stuff are so beautiful. I just think it's gonna be so good. Immortal Dark. This has been one of my most anticipated releases. As soon as I saw the author's videos pop on my For You page like talking about what this was about, I've been excited. I pre-ordered it instantly. The edges on this release are so beautiful. The end papers are so beautiful. If I'm not mistaken, this is her debut novel. I think it's gonna be amazing. From what I know about it, it's like a dark academia vampire kind of story, which to me screams fall, like screams September, October. So this is so high on my TBR. Like, this is the feeling that I am chasing. The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I just feel like it's a rite of passage. The fact that I haven't read this kind of feels like a book talk faux pas. Like, I feel like I have to have read it, and I don't really love normally like themed books. Like, I think I've read one Christmas book. I don't think I have a single, I'm looking over my bookshelf, Halloween book, but I've actually heard a lot of people really like this, so I think I'm gonna give it a go. And I'm also so deep in my fall era, I think I could really like some fall books this year. If I'm not mistaken, this is about a girl who hexes her ex, like a witch that hexes her ex, and he comes back and is like, you did something, and they have to work together to undo this hex because it's affecting things. Could have said nothing and accomplished more. If you were looking for real synopses of these books, you're in the wrong place, because I love to go in blind, and you realistically are just not gonna find that here. Kingmakers by Sophie Lark. This is another one. This is what I'm saying. I've been blacking out walking into bookstores that I know absolutely nothing about. I've never heard of it. I don't know anything about it, but this cover is so beautiful. I think this is another like one of an author's first series that are being re-released. The edges are so beautiful, and they're gonna be released in a bunch of different colors, and the back sold me. I have not much of an idea of what it's about, but it's a mafia university where kids are going, like the children of mafia bosses, to learn the skills they need to be a part of the mafia family ring, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's gonna be dark academia, but make it mafia, which sold. Yeah, no, that sold me. I haven't read anything by Sophie Lark, like The Brittle Prince, that series, nothing at all. I've not read anything by her, and I've been wanting to. I also am pretty sure that they are renaming them like year one versus, I think they were called like real titles before versus being like year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of them. So I'm getting myself into a series, but I'm honestly so ready to be lost in a dark academia dark romance-esque world. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McCannis. Not 100% sure how to say that. I will forever be trying to recreate the feeling of reading The Naturals and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder for the first time, and I just finished As Good as Dead, the last book in the trilogy for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I just need more in the YA true crime-esque genre. I tried Truly Devious, borderline hated it, really did not like it. I don't think I'm gonna read on. And this is gonna be the next attempt. This one has also been turned into a TV show, so I'm excited to read this first and then go into the TV show. From what I've gathered, this is kind of like a Breakfast Club, but make it true crime-esque YA genre novel, where a bunch of people walk into a detention room, but one of them does not make it out, and now they have to solve it. I don't know what it is about teenagers solving crimes, but they make for the most entertaining, most gripping, most rip your heart out, I'm so obsessed with you as a character and I wish I could give you a hug-esque books ever. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I've been seeing this everywhere in literally the last 24 hours. Like, that's it. I am so excited to go into this. I don't know all that much about it, but this cover is so beautiful. I don't know what it is. It's pretty plain, but the little pink drip, it is doing something for me. I know it is based in the Adirondacks, which I think is just such a beautiful setting. I think it's gonna be so eerie. It's about a summer camp where one morning a bunk bed is empty and one kid is missing. I know it's unraveling a bunch of family secrets as well. And now, last but certainly not least, I finally have The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I have been recommended this so many times based on so many books that I love, and I in this moment cannot think of them at all. Like, I feel like it was Olive Blake and Addie LaRue that were books that I was writing about that people then said that I had to read this. If I'm not mistaken, I don't totally remember. However, it's been locked in my brain, locked and loaded, that I had to buy this. Sorry, when I was at the bookstore, I saw it for like the 18th time. The whole blackout thing that I'm going through right now. Add to cart, grab. I'm excited to read it. I know that I loved the books that I was talking about that then resulted in me getting recommended this. Follow that train of thought. Good luck with it. But I have no idea what it's about, not one singular thought. And I think this is one that I really want to go in blind to, see what book it's connecting to. And that was the 30 something books that I had bought in the last little while. I feel like at this point I can officially stop myself, take a look at everything I have to read, and I'm excited to read. I've officially grabbed everything that I really want to read this fall. So this is kind of like a fall TBR video too. Let me know if you guys have read any of these and what you thought of them, or which ones like I really desperately need to get to, because I feel like there are so many on this list that I've heard amazing things about and I think will be so good for fall. Or let me know if you're adding any of these to your TBR. I can't imagine, because I feel like I didn't sell them all that good. I feel like I don't know all that much about most of them to be able to convince you. But if for nothing else, someone convinced me to buy them, or the back convinced me to buy them, so that is endorsement enough. Is it though? I don't know. And a huge thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to head to bookofthemonth.com and use the code cardigan to get your very first book for only $5, because that is a deal that cannot be topped. And I hope to see you in the next one. Love you. Bye. And on that note, it is time to get reading, because we need to dwindle this from TBR to read to make it all worth it.